Is this a good result for Arsenal? Arsenal fans, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I mean, I want to hear what you guys think actually, because I don't support any of the teams, Manchester City or Arsenal. So I think for Arsenal, for Manchester City, first of all, you look at this and think, was this, you look at this and think, is this a good result for Manchester City? In the sense that they're not necessarily competing for the league. You look at Manchester City, how they even play today. I don't think they are title contenders. And I think this is a good result for a team fighting for top four. A good result against a potential title winner is a good result. But you look at this against for Arsenal, against Manchester City at home. This wasn't at the Etihad. If this was at the Etihad, I understand, okay, yes, it's not necessarily the best place to go to get a draw, and you're kind of thinking a draw is a good result. But this is at home against Manchester City. And now Arsenal are 5 points behind Liverpool, I believe. 5 points. Yes, they're 5 points behind Liverpool because they lost to Liverpool now. So they're 5 points behind Liverpool. And you're looking at this thinking their next game is up against Newcastle. They could easily drop points there. Another draw to Newcastle or another drop result, that's 2 points dropped. If they drop results against Newcastle and Liverpool win their games, that 5 points becomes 7 points. God forbid they lose the game against Newcastle, it becomes 8 points. So you look at this as an Arsenal fan and think, could you have done better? Teams have played against Manchester City this season and they've done well. We're talking Spurs, we're talking Brighton. These teams have come up against Manchester City and they've actually been okay. So you look at this and think, could you have done better? Could you have gotten a better result up against Manchester City in a match as big as this? Could you have gotten a result? It's a question that you have to ask as an Arsenal fan. You look at the lineup, not Martinelli, Trossard, Marino, those two started the game badly. And in the first 20, 30 minutes, you could see that sub needed to be made. That sub of I keep saying Martinelli, Miguel Marino and Trossard off for maybe an Eze and Martinelli, actually. I don't think Saka did as better than Madueke. I'm not trying to say Madueke is better, but Saka coming back from an injury, I don't think he did better than Madueke was doing. I think it was a weird sub to bring on Saka for Madueke. I think Madueke on the field probably would have been better. I think Madueke on, Marino off for Eze, and then Martinelli on for Trossard. And you look at that and think, did Arteta go into the game with the mind of he wanted to get a draw? Did he not believe his team was good enough to beat Manchester City? That's the question you have to be asking yourself now, because I look at that lineup and I still ask myself, why is Eze on the bench? Why is Eze on the bench for Marino? I'm not trying to say Marino is not a good player, but you're coming up against a Manchester City at home, a Manchester City that has looked vulnerable, a team that looks like you can get at them, and you play a center midfielder when you have a really good attacking midfield. I mean, Eze got the assist from Martinelli, so it's just his start in the game would have been justified because he went on to get an assist against for Martinelli's goal. So I think Eze starting the game probably would have been a better pick rather than Marino. So I think I look at that and think maybe Arteta is at fault for that. But again, as I asked the question, started the video, I'm going to ask this question again. Is this enough? Is this draw a good result? Arsenal fans will probably say a draw is better than a loss because you could have lost 3 points, but now at least we lose only 2. I mean, you look at it in the long run, your next game is up against Newcastle. And is it at home to Newcastle? I might be wrong on that. I'll have to double check here. Yeah, so I'm right. The Arsenal's next game is up against Newcastle, and it's at home to Newcastle. St. James's Park is not the easiest place to go and get points for a Premier League team. So you look at that and think it's a match where Arsenal could easily drop points. And I don't know. This draw doesn't look like a good result. But again, let me know what you think if this is a good draw for Arsenal. I do want to stop talking about Arsenal because I think start of the game, first half, they didn't play. They weren't looking the best. Second half when Eze and Martinelli, Eze and Saka came in, I think they did look better. Yuri Timber is a player I keep talking about. He's a good, solid, consistent player for Arsenal. First half, he played very well. I think Marino and Trossard really ruined Arsenal's chances in the first half. There were a lot of opportunities they had where they were misplacing passes. And you're thinking in a game like this where you need to be on your game. You need to be top concentration, top everything. Players missing passes and making bad decisions is not what you want to see. And I think out of all the Arsenal players that started, I think Timber and Madueke were two players where I think they did well. Timber and Madueke. I think second half when Eze came in, obviously Eze is a good player. Again, don't understand why he was on the bench. Eze came on and looked good. Saka, as I said, he's coming back from injury, so I don't really want to judge him. But I think Madueke staying on the pitch and Saka coming onto the pitch was not necessarily that different, and it wasn't as different as Arteta probably thought it was going to be. It was almost the same thing. Haaland he looks sharp, on fire. He is looking good at the moment. He is absolutely on form. The goal he scored, very good. The goal Man City scored, bad defending. I think Saliba doesn't even look ready. To be honest with you, before I move on to Manchester City and their players and how they play today, I think Arteta made a lot of bad decisions today. I think Saliba starting the match was a bad decision. I think Merino starting the match, Trossard starting the match, those three decisions were really, really bad for me. I think Mascara did well. Mascara literally made his debut against Liverpool at Anfield, and he did okay. He was okay defensively. Came on against who did they play against? I forgot who they played against. But Mascara has actually been solid. I don't think he has not done well enough to not start this game over recently recovering Saliba. And you could see that in the first goal. Saliba doesn't look sharp. I think he should take that run, Mark Haaland in that run, and then Timber comes over and maybe the ball has to be passed to Doku, and then maybe, they defend the ball better. I'm not trying to say maybe they wouldn't have scored that goal regardless, but I think Saliba could have done a whole lot better, and he doesn't look sharp. So the decision to start him from Arteta, again, adds to my point of did he come into this game thinking, I don't believe we are good enough to beat Manchester City, and I think maybe they're going to have the quality to beat us, attacking wise. So I might as well put my best defender, even though he's not ready. I might as well put him in start of the game. So I'm looking at that, and yeah, bad decisions from Arteta. But apart from that, Manchester City star players, I think Doku and Haaland look brilliant. Donnarumma, I'm not even going to spend too much time on Donnarumma because he is a goalkeeper that we know is quality. I think the only thing that would surprise people is how unexpected or how unpredictable the signing was. People would probably not think City would go for Donnarumma, but the quality Donnarumma has coming for, he made Arsenal's set pieces look ass. Excuse my French. He made Arsenal's set pieces look very, very bad. He came for all the crosses, anything in his 6-yard box. He was out there trying to get it. The chip from Martinelli to score the goal, really good goal. I don't think any goalkeeper is really going to save that, get his hand on that chip. It was really, really good. He had to come out. I don't think he could stay in his 6-yard box. I think he had to come out for that. Maybe a little bit 50-50, but I do think him coming out for that wasn't a bad decision. Good chip from Martinelli to score the goal. But I think for Man City at the moment, they don't look their best. I don't know if they're going to end up looking their best as the season goes. I don't know if they're going to keep growing in form and getting better. But if you look at Manchester City, the three players I think that are going to be very, very important for them, Doku, Haaland, Donnarumma. These three players look absolutely on it for Manchester City. I think the rest of the team, I don't know if it's a system thing or just players getting used to playing for Manchester City and aging players like Bernardo Silva and stuff like that. So I'm not really, thinking too much about it. The pass from Eze, absolutely brilliant. I'm watching this back. The chip from Martinelli was actually very, very good. Very, very good chip from Martinelli under such circumstances to get the composure and confidence. I think this is the problem with Martinelli that Arsenal fans would probably say. He has the quality, but he's not consistent. He has the quality to be a good player and to deliver stuff like this, but you're hardly going to see this. This goal Martinelli scored, he's going to score this, get a performance like this, and not going to play well in the next 2 games for Arsenal. So if you're, an Arsenal fan, you're kind of looking at that and thinking, yeah, maybe he's not a player you move forward with, or even if he's a player you move forward with, you just maybe put him on the bench because of his lack of consistency. But back to Manchester City, They defended very well. I don't know what they were doing on the Arsenal equalizer, playing the high line, very weird. But yeah, I think they defended well. Donnarumma, as I said, made amazing saves, good clearances, punching the ball out, corners. Very, very, very good. Arsenal, they did look shaky defensively. Doku was getting at them a lot of times. Haaland as well. And I think that really, really was down to the picking of Saliba at center back. I don't think he was sharp. Again, I'm not trying to say Saliba is a bad defender, but what I'm trying to say is I don't think he was sharp. He's literally just coming back from injury, so he's gonna be a little bit shaky. And I think Mascara really did deserve to start this game, especially based on the fact that he has performed well in his previous games. I think he deserved to start this game. So yeah, I think Arsenal have to look at this. And you see, the problem now, the issue now with the title races, Liverpool don't look like they're going to give up points. I think that the matches Liverpool were supposed to give up points were start of the season, St. James's Park, Arsenal, even Everton to a certain extent. These were matches where you look at it and think, okay, Liverpool could drop a few points here and there. They could draw against Everton. They could probably lose to Newcastle. They could probably drop points against Arsenal. These are matches where you think Liverpool are going to drop points, and they haven't. That's the problem now. The matches where Liverpool were expected to drop points, they haven't dropped points. So now you're looking at your next matches and thinking, if they can't drop points against the top teams, they're definitely not going to drop points against the lower teams. And they look like they're starting to slowly build the team. They're slowly starting to build sharpness, starting to build a chemistry. And we haven't even seen Isak at full firing form. The form we expect Alexander Isak to be firing when he was at Newcastle. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen Jeremy Frimpong. We haven't seen Florian Wirtz. When these players hit form, Liverpool are going to look unstoppable. And that's mainly the issue you should be having as an Arsenal fan, because when you're dropping points like this, when you're dropping points in matches like this, again, if you're dropping points against maybe last 2 seasons Manchester City, I kind of understand, because that Manchester City is good. But this season Manchester City, they're there for the taking. We've seen teams go up against them and actually play well. They're there for the taking. So to drop points against this Manchester City, although it's a draw, you've gotten a point, but it still dropped 2 points. You've gotten a point, but you've still dropped 2. You should have gotten all 3. I think 3 points was really there for the taking in this match. And to see Arsenal not take it, you kind of look at it and think, can they go all the way? Can they go all the way? Because again, I'm looking at Arsenal's next matches. There are matches you can drop points. I'm looking at Fulham at home, Newcastle at home, even Crystal Palace away. I'm looking at that match and thinking you could drop points. You could draw that match. You have Spurs away. You have Chelsea at home. These are matches where you could potentially, because again, if you're drawing against Manchester City, who don't look at their best, what's to say you don't go against Fulham and drop points? What's to say you don't go up against Newcastle and drop points? That's what I'm trying to say. But again, Arsenal fans, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As usual, any feedback from you guys would be greatly appreciated.